Welcome to CommercialDrones.fm, the podcast that explores the commercial drone industry, the people who power it, and the concepts that drive it. I'm your host, Ian Smith. Hey everybody, Ian here, coming at you from the Commercial UAV Expo in sunny, I think, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's very dark in these casinos. Here at the Commercial UAV Expo, and today we've got Dave Henderson from Topcon. He is their Director of Sales for Geospatial Solutions. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Mr. Henderson.
Ian, pleasure. Good to see you again, as always, and enjoy being here with you.
Thank you very much, sir. So we met back, I believe, at AUVSI Exponential over in Dallas, earlier this year. But yeah, maybe we could kind of start off and tell the audience just a little bit about yourself and how did you get into the geospatial industry?
You know, I tell you, Ian, it is crazy. My uncle ran a blueprint shop for so long, and I started working there as a kid in high school, and it's a reprographics. You do blueprints, architects, engineers, surveyors come in, and he also sold equipment that basically was for surveying and engineering needs. And you know, I started to like this stuff. I started to get a feel of, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I started to learn how to use the equipment. And the next thing I know, I'm selling equipment and I'm enjoying myself, solving problems for customers. And I've always had a knack for people and for sales, and I fell into it. And, the rest is kind of history. I've moved around a little bit for different companies. And as the technology grew, I became one of those people that embraced the technology early on and showed customers how they could get a return on investment, be profitable, and just reduce the labor costs associated with what they were doing.
Well, that's what it's all about. Nice. And so, what part of the States are you from? Where was that whenever you were growing up?
I'm just a kid from a small town in Savannah, Georgia. So I'm on the eastern seaboard, and an old southern town that, thank goodness, that one of the generals, Sherman, just spared, quite frankly. So there you go.
I've heard good things about Savannah. So that's awesome. Cool. So yeah, you've been in geospatial then, basically your entire professional career.
Absolutely. Over 30 years. It's hard to believe it went by fast, but I've seen the evolution take place with hardware and software, and glad to be a part of it.
That's really interesting. So what kind of obviously this is the Commercial Drones FM podcast, so you guys do deal in drones, but I'd actually like to first tell us a little bit about Topcon, and then I want to kind of get into what were people doing before drones? I mean, you've been selling them solutions and helping them solve those problems.
Sure.
But first of all, what is Topcon? Tell us about it. Big company, been around a long time.
Absolutely. Topcon is an 85-year-old company. And today we have two divisions. We have a eye care division and a positioning. So we do ophthalmology equipment.
Really?
A lot of people don't know that, but we have a medical eye division out of New Jersey, and we do ophthalmology equipment all over the world. And then we've got the positioning technology business, and Livermore, California is the home for that. And then, of course, we have the headquarters in Japan, but we're a global company. We have R&D all over the world. We have distribution network all over the world, and regional headquarters. So we are truly a global positioning company.
And so the eye care thing, are you guys making those machines that blow that little puff of air at my eye or when I go to the eye doctor?
You know, I will tell you, I don't get too heavy into that, but it's a lot of retinal type thing for glaucoma and things of that nature. So we're part of that infrastructure and feel good about it, that we're trying to solve problems on people's health.
Diversify.
Excellent.
Very nice.
Yes.
Cool. So Topcon, very interesting company. So Japanese company. And okay, let's look back at the geospatial industry. I mean, back to the blueprints, basically. Is it safe to say that those blueprints at that shop you were working at in the family, are those kind of are those blueprints still around? Has that kind of been changed by the drone industry? Or
the reality is, back in the 70s, there was no CAD. People were drawing with triangles and straight edges. And when you made a mistake, you pulled out an eraser and erased it and redid it. That's how it was. That's how the industry really was back then. And everything was supplies. There were so many supplies you needed just to do simple drawings. It was pretty amazing. So now you see a transformation. There still are blueprints, hard blueprints, obviously, but everything is more digital now. And we're even seeing that on the job site, because when changes take place, what revisions right? only a digital drawing can tell you what revision it is, how right it is. Sometimes people will get different sets of blueprints. Well, is that the same blueprint we should all be working on?
Yeah.
There's your challenge.
And so drones have played a role in that. But yeah, I guess it was CAD, computer-aided design that kind of
revolutionized everything, just like GPS and now robotics and machine control. And now on to UAVs, which is a product that really horizontally fits across ag, construction, survey, infrastructure. So it's truly a horizontal product.
And are you guys working with all of those industries? And I'm assuming more.
Yes, absolutely. Because we're such a large company and we have our roots in the survey business and construction business. And obviously, a lot of people don't know Topcon is in the agriculture business. We've purchased a couple of companies for that, and we're widely known for auto steering and spraying and different types of products. So people don't realize that, but we are already in all those particular markets, and we're pushing products that can revolutionize how customers do the job and increase their productivity.
That's awesome. So you were a moderator of a panel here at the Commercial UAV Expo. Can you tell us a little bit about the panel? What did you guys talk about?
You know, I tell you, it was a great experience. I love to moderate. I love to be on the advisory board to make things happen and to see the quality of people come in here. And we had BNSF Railroad, Utah Department of Transportation, and the Corps of Engineers, individuals from those particular entities. And just to share with us how they're doing things, what their challenges are, where they see the future going, and how the business is evolving for them. And to share that with the attendees here really shines a light on what the possibilities are and how drones will really take over and affect different areas of our lives.
Yeah. And so what, BNSF Railways, so what kind of stuff are they using drones for? I mean, they got, I guess, just a bunch of tracks and trains.
Well, they've got bridges also. So it's tracks and trains, it's right of way. It's basically collecting information to see, is there something wrong with the track? So now, instead of doing that manually, they're collecting all that information, and they've created a program that's got artificial intelligence, deep learning, to identify if there's a problem. And they're doing the same thing with their bridge work. So now they've got a more effective way and safer way to do bridges. They used to do it with people on ropes and climbing down, and now it's just a whole different ball game, and it's just a game changer in a lot of different ways. Nice.
So you know, I'm familiar with Topcon. You know, I see you guys at a lot of the drone conferences, kind of around the world. Actually, I think you guys might have even been. Well, you definitely were at Intergeo over in Germany. And so you guys have a couple of, you know, different drone platforms, I guess we can say. So fixed wing and multi-rotor. So one of those is Mavinci. And so can you tell us a little bit about Mavinci? I mean, Mavinci is the fixed wing platform.
Correct.
In your words, how about?
Okay, so our entry into the UAV business was by partnerships, and there's many a variation of how you can enter this market. We determined the best course of action was a partnership. So we partnered up with Mavinci out of Germany back in 2014. And the partnership included us, OEM and a board to them, our B110 OEM GNSS board, where we created the first commercial RTK fixed wing aircraft and started to sell that. Great partnership, and enjoyed being with those guys. And about a year ago, they were purchased by Intel. So now it's an Intel fixed wing product. And really the same thing happened with another company called Ascending Technologies out of Germany, a separate company. After we did the fixed wing, we were starting to look for a rotary wing, and we found a great company there, started to work with them, and Intel bought them also. So
they're just following what you guys are doing.
I think they are following us, and that's probably a good thing, and we're great. We're pleased to have them involved in it. So now we've got two products that are manufactured by Intel that we sell on a global basis through our distribution network for all types of applications, and we find it to be a very good fit.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so can you tell us a little bit about how customers, I mean, how are you guys selling these? Are you kind of selling like a solution to them? I mean, is there software bundled in here? I mean, you guys got your hands in every part of this. So maybe you can describe like, what a customer comes to you guys for and how you kind of package it up. And then maybe some of the use cases with like I love the Falcon 8 platform. It's been around ages. I mean, it's proven itself a hell of a lot. But yeah, tell us a little bit about just kind of like the solution and maybe some of the software that you guys also bundle. So
let's start with the fixed wing. We start with desktop planning software from Intel to create the flight plan.
It's Intel.
Yeah.
Intel software. Okay.
Yeah,
well, they own them now.
Yeah, they own them. So and then we go ahead and we conduct a flight mission, come back and download the data. And currently what we are doing for post-processing, if you have a need to stitch images in a photogrammetry way, and that's typically what is done with the fixed wing, we're using Bentley Context Capture. It's a product from them that we really are calling Topcon Context Capture to process that data. And then we are leaving it up to the end user on what avenue they want to use the data. So this can go to Autodesk. It can go back into Bentley, Context Capture Advanced, or to other Bentley products to solve a customer's problem by providing a deliverable. Now, with that said, and this is the same with really the rotary, we have our own software. And some of our software is really almost all of it is under the Magnet name. And let's just talk about one particular area, Magnet Collage. So Magnet Collage is a software that processes our data from terrestrial scanning, Topcon terrestrial scanning, GLS, or from our mobile mapping unit. So now we have one platform to process those. And the important thing is we have one platform to put all the data together. So now we're taking the UAV data, inserting it into the collage, and we can put different datums and projections together. And this is what's needed. When you go on a construction site, you may have different contractors collecting data. It's got to all fit. We make the data fit. That's what Topcon does. We're involved in geospatial. We make it fit. And then we can serve it up to something such as Magnet Collage Web for collaboration, markup, and things of that nature. And I think in the future, what you're going to see is there were some announcements recently at Bentley's Infrastructure Year project or Infrastructure Year conference, and we'll be doing cloud services with Bentley. So the exchange of data is really important, how we can move that data through the channel efficiently and do more projects in real time for the customer and get the updated information in real time.
Can you explain a little bit about more on like the terrestrial mapping? So it's like ground-based mapping. I think we focus so much on drones and stuff, but
sure.
What is terrestrial mapping and like what kind of hardware do they use for that? Because you can't always carry some of this hardware on a drone, I think, from what I gather.
I think the important thing for everyone to understand is these are all tools. We have to pick the right tool for the project, and sometimes it may be 90% UAV, 10% terrestrial scanning. So a terrestrial scanner would typically sit on a tripod, either indoors or outdoors, and it's all line of sight. So basically, you turn the scanner on, and it's going to collect all the information within its line of sight. So obviously, it can't see through walls or anything, but you're going to collect that information, and that's typically what we call LiDAR. And then we'll take that information in and maybe even have to register it so we have the accurate coordinate system for it. And then we may mesh that with other data. And I think that's where I say the rubber meets the road is how does all this data work together? And Topcon's a company that can make the data work together no matter how you collect it, what type of sensor you're using.
And so you guys then are selling these terrestrial solutions along with drones. I mean, like you said, exactly, like they're just tools. So you got to find the right tool for the job, whatever fits the customer. Nice. And so a little bit about the software then, the software side of things. I mean, before Topcon, I mean, what are customers doing? Like if they don't have, I mean, what kind of problems is this creating? Like whenever you have or data, kind of fragmented data all over the place.
I can tell you the first thing I would do with any customer who really wanted to purchase something is to understand their workflow. How are you doing it now? What challenges are you having? What software do you have in the back office? And I think that's the only way you can really solve a customer's problem is to understand what they're doing now and what pieces we need to put everything together to make them productive. And obviously, we want to take our particular solutions and incorporate it into their workflows so the learning curve is shorter. That's what we always want to do. But, it does have its challenges. You have people that have not worked with LiDAR data, and with other types of data, and obviously UAV data. We're creating those same type of point clouds and meshes. So there's a learning curve there to understand how do we get our deliverables, and that's where we step in with the workflow to show you the end deliverable. And I think a lot of people step over that thinking they're looking at hardware. Well, we need to look at the whole solution.
Yeah. So looking back, from 2014, actually, I remember when you guys, and I was working at Delair trying to sell fixed wing drones over there for that company in France. And I remember going Mavinci was a competitor of ours. And I remember when you guys released the RTK system. And so looking back since, I guess, 2014, since you guys got in this, what I'm trying to get here is kind of like a pulse on like the industry. And so have you seen your customers' interest in drones, in aerial platforms for geospatial work in any of these industries? Have you been really seeing that kind of ramp up? And is it kind of, are we still growing here? Are we plateauing? From your perspective, how's it looking?
I can tell you back in 2014, 2015, it was basically the typical paradigm. Early entry, early adopter, everybody's on board. And that's what happens. But a lot of the bigger companies, I don't think, jumped on board. They're waiting and seeing. And then we had a lull. And then everybody's trying to figure out, well, what does this drone technology really do? Where does it fit in? How is the workflow? And I think you know yourself, hardware is always ahead of software. So now we're starting to see on the back end a lot of software solutions to solve these problems. And on the horizon, people are starting to say, yeah, this can actually work. So bigger companies are adopting it in a variety of ways to add this to the total equation of solving problems.
So any predictions then for the future of the industry? Where are you seeing this heading? Seeing it from all the way from the blueprints and the hand-drawn, maps and everything of the past, and I guess still the current, the present. But where do you see this going? Where do you see drone technology going for geospatial, and any bold predictions that you got for us, Dave?
Wow, these days you better have a good crystal ball for predictions, because just when you think you know what's going to happen, you get shaken out. I will tell you, I feel like in a lot of cases, this is all going autonomous. It's going to be you'll have a pilot there, but he's just there to make sure everything's running correctly. It'll be a single button push. The drone will go up. It'll collect all the information. It'll land automatically. That will be transferred. And then on the back end, you'll have AI and deep learning technologies to be able to extrapolate anything that you want very quickly, show changes from the previous flight, possibly if you're flying the same type of objects again and again, and the extraction of features automatically. And that's where really AI and deep learning is really going to play a part. And this is not going to be a manual process in the future. And I think it's going to happen quicker than we all expect. I think within 2 years, we're going to see all this happen.
I think you are pretty accurate with that prediction. So good stuff. Not a lot to worry about.
Well, then
there.
Maybe I need to go to the casino tonight if it's that good.
There's a hot blackjack table over in the Westgate here.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dave, for joining us. It was a pleasure learning more about Topcon and kind of the history of the geospatial industry leading up into drones and then the future. If you're listening and you want to follow Topcon, you can do so on Twitter at Topcon_today. And then on Facebook.com/Topcon today. Once again, Dave Henderson and Ian Smith coming at you from the Commercial UAV Show in Expo, or the UAV Expo in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. Any last parting thoughts for the audience, Dave, before we go ahead and cut off the mics?
That's really hard. It's been a dynamic year, and I can tell you that I don't see it stopping. And I think that people would do themselves good if they get out to shows like this and really press the flesh with other people who are doing the projects and the technology, listen to the sessions and see what's going on, because this is really, as you've seen yourself today, in the past couple of days, this is the pinnacle. This is where the people that are really driving the business from the projects and the technology, and you can learn a lot. So there you go.
Yeah, I think the networking part of this is invaluable. That's almost like the best part of these kind of events. It's like talking to other people, seeing what they're doing, trying to solve problems and kind of think together. So very nice. Thank you so much, Dave. You can go ahead again, check out probably topcon.com is the website. Follow the podcast while you're at it. On Twitter at Drones Podcast and Facebook.com/Drones Podcast. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.